I've been generating consulting leads for over 30 years, and today on the show I want to show you how we get 28 times more leads through a simple lead magnet strategy. And I'm going to show you how to bring that lead magnet strategy into your consulting business as well. My name is Russell Pearson. This is episode 114 of the Your Consulting Business Podcast. This podcast is all about helping you grow your consulting business. And today on the show, we're going to talk about lead magnets. And you might be wondering, what the hell is a lead magnet, Russell, and why would I want one? Well, the simple answer is a lead magnet is a free resource that you would exchange for contact details. Now, contact details are important, especially in a consulting business, because the conversation that we have with people we suspect that might be ideal for us as clients is our point of sale. If we're not actually speaking to people, we're not making clients. We're not turning suspects and leads into clients. And so having those contact details is the first start to enabling a conversation. But why would I want a lead magnet? Well, a lead magnet is a way that you can actually have something online where people can put their contact details into it and download your resource automatically. Now, that's not necessarily the only way you can build a lead magnet. In the old days, we used to do it very manually, and there's some good tricks that we can do around that, and I'll talk about them later in the episode. But with the digital way you would do a lead magnet is a landing page that has a downloadable something. People will put in their contact details and automatically download that thing, which allows you to, number one, have the contact details, and then they get the resource, which means that you can get leads while you sleep. And so having a thing that's out there like a 24/7 employee who's out there trying to find you leads is a very useful thing for your business. And that's why I think every single consultant should have some form of lead magnet operational at any one time so that people can opt into your world, they can step into your world, and ideally you're putting your best foot forward with this resource. So let's talk about the resource itself. What can that be? And what makes the resource good so that we actually have a good lead magnet rather than a poor lead magnet. Now, you may have already downloaded a lot of little resources from other people out there on the internet and found them to be next to useless, if not just a waste of your own time. You don't want to do that to your potential clients. One of the big mistakes that people make is they try to make their lead magnet do everything for them rather than get very specific. So it's always a good idea to create value in very small bites so that when people download the thing that you're putting forward, that they get what they expect. So by putting your best foot forward, we want to make sure that this lead magnet is a really good introduction to your world. And I'm going to give you the three things that are going to make it more effective than the majority of lead magnets out there. But let me get into the numbers. This is the detail that I want to show you as to why lead magnets are so much more effective than websites. So I quickly want to show you behind the scenes of the lead magnets that we create and the software that we use. Now, this is the inside of Lead Pages. It is just a piece of software that creates landing pages. And you could use just about any piece of software to do this. Majority of them work very much the same as Lead Pages. I choose Lead Pages because it's very easy to use. I have a background in coding. I do know how to build websites, but I find this to be a faster way of doing it just because it's so easy to put things together. Now, I'm not going to show you too deeply inside the actual software itself, but I want to show you the results. Now, over on the side here, you can already see that in the last 30 days, we've had 1,500 views, we've had 1,131 unique visitors, but we've had 295 conversions, which means new leads that have actually engaged our lead magnets. Now, yesterday, you can see there we've actually had 10, and today already we've had 3. And so that's the results of how we're actually bringing new leads into the business. But let's have a look at the landing pages themselves. Now, there are all sorts of different landing pages that we have created over time, and we test and measure these things to see how effective they will be. Now, I wanted to show you just quickly a couple of things. Number one, these are the conversion rates that we're getting. It's 67%, we got 64%, 60%, 59%. Obviously, I've put this conversion rate in like this is the best that we're getting. But we have been getting them above 80%, but over time, if you have enough people coming through, it'll reduce. The actual conversion rate reduces. But what's important about this is the average website converts at 2.3% globally. Now that includes everything like Amazon and these really effective e-commerce sites. And so to increase, to have more than 28 times that sort of result from a standard website, shows you that there might be something to consider when it comes to landing pages. Now, the key with landing pages is pretty simple, but before we get into that key, I just want to show you what some of these pages look like. Now, you'll see this Cash Before Christmas is an event that we ran. There's a website pack thing. They can be as simple as this website pack, which we've had 184 people visit, 110 download it, so 60% conversion rate. You can see it's as simple as this. It's just a page that's got here's a pack. Click here to download it. It enables us to take a first name and an email address. So this is something that I use whenever I'm running events and at the end of a session. This is one that we've been running quite a lot here. You can see 1,521 visits. We've had 793 people actually subscribe to it, 52% conversion rate. And this structure that I'm going to show you on this one is pretty standard of an effective landing page. Now, what's interesting about this one is I'm not just getting email addresses, I'm also getting phone numbers and the country of origin. So I want a little bit more detail on this because these are some of the consulting leads that we are getting. These consultants are downloading this. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to be right for our business, but it gives us a good idea that they might be, right? They might be interested in running a successful consulting practice, and they are the sort of people we want to speak to, because we're not interested in people who are outside of the consulting space. We want to help people specifically with growing their consulting business. So this is an example of one that works quite well. And even this one here, where this was a little event that we ran a little while ago, again, a little downloadable that we could give at that same time when the event was running. So very similar to the website pack. In structure, we just had a very small change to the theme. Here is probably the standard structure that we tend to use, and there's a number of different items that we use as lead magnets for that. So I'll show you just a couple more. I think that marketing resources one will look very much the same as the others, as it does. Advisor stack. Now here's one that's worked quite effectively. There's a 52%. But again, you can see this is similar to the Trusted Advisor pack. In structure, we've got the product there on the right hand side. We've got a bit of a headline and a little bit of what's involved, and then an easy button, a call to action button that allows people to take the next step. In this case, we're actually getting people to take a next step into filling in a Google form, so they get like a whole bunch of resources after they've completed that Google form. And it's cool. Like, people are converting at 51%, which means that, and I'm just going to switch back to my other view. It means that at the end of the day, half the people that actually visit that page are converting. Now, if you've had a look at your website stats lately, you'll probably find, because the majority of consultants that I speak to find this as well, that their conversion rate, people who've made an inquiry or downloaded something from their website, is less than 1%. So that 2.3% I was talking about is globally how well we are as a marketplace that's selling online, actually being able to convert people to the next step. So 2.3%, which means that if you, let's say you had a room of 100 people, they're your ideal clients, and you walked into that room and you only spoke to 2 people and maybe a short person, there's your 0.3, but you only spoke to a handful of those people, yet there's like 97 plus a tall person, 97 people in that room you don't speak to who are your ideal clients, you're missing out on so much. And so by putting these lead magnets out there, we're able to get 1 in 2 people, so 50% of the room, so 50 people in a room of 100, who will actually engage with us and will ideally take some form of next step. Okay, so there's all sorts of what do you do after you actually get a lead, and we'll talk about that on another podcast. But on this one, I just wanted you to understand the importance of actually creating a lead magnet and what it takes to create a good one. Why are we converting at 67% when others are converting at much lower? There are a lot of people out there with lead magnets that are converting at maybe 5% or maybe 6%. If we don't have a lead magnet that's converting more than 16%, we'll throw it out. It means the concept is not good. So what do we do? How do we go about defining what makes a good lead magnet? Number 1 is relevance. So how relevant is your lead magnet to the market that you're engaging with? Now, the first part of that is, do you know who that market is? There are a number of consultants out there that are saying, we just help women or we just help men. That's 50% of the entire population on the planet. We're talking about 4 billion people in either of those camps. And you're not going to create something relevant when it's that broad an audience. And so my advice is to actually niche down, even if you're not going to niche the entire business down, niche down with these lead magnets so they are for a specific who, right? A specific person who identifies as a thing. So identifies as a consultant, identifies as a carpenter or a plumber, identifies as a doctor, identifies as, let's say, a website designer, right? So we want to get specific and relevant to these people. Now, relevance of the who is one of those pieces, but the second is the what. What is relevant to these people? Now, there's going to be a thing that you have, and there'll be probably your service or the work that you do that is your solution. And your solution solves a bunch of problems. Now, what's interesting about the problems that your solution solves is a lot of the time the new lead is not problem aware. They don't know that they have this problem yet. They may just be in the market and slightly interested in things that you could help them with. They haven't yet diagnosed any problems. And so what I like to do is go one step out from the actual problem that we solve and say, what are the symptoms? Well, there's usually multiple symptoms of a problem. And I'll name all these symptoms. And let's say that in the consulting world, for instance, one of the problems that people have is that they can find that they're not getting enough referrals. All right, not getting enough referrals becomes a problem. Now, there's some people who will be aware of that, and there's some people who will be thinking that things are going along normal, but they've never actually looked at the numbers of referrals that has actually dropped. So they're not quite problem aware yet. So I'll look at what is the symptom that is coming from that problem. Well, number one, we don't have enough work. Number two, I can see the end of a project coming up and I don't have anything lined up, or I'm not talking to enough qualified people. Okay, so there's 3 symptoms of the specific problem. I don't have to talk about referrals at this point. I can talk about one of these other more specific symptoms. And so symptoms become the language of a lead magnet. So what is the symptom of your ideal client? We work back from, all right, here's the solution. What problems does it solve, and what are the symptoms of that problem? That's going to give you a big list of different symptoms you can choose from. And what I suggest is actually have a look at the context of when you're going to put that lead magnet out, understanding that a lead magnet might run for a month, a couple of months, maybe a year. You're probably not going to have a lead magnet that runs through the entire life of your business. You'll have to change it, because the environment changes, context changes, government changes, things are happening out there, and it is worthwhile having your lead magnet be very relevant to what's happening in the environment. So have a look at all these, identify which ones are the highest priority in the mind of your ideal customer, and then make that symptom the focus of the lead magnet you're going to create. Which means that make the focus of what it is that's going to be a small step to solve that. So it could be about creating a quiz. It could be about creating a little cheat sheet. It could be about creating a document on how to do something. It could be creating a guide or a PDF that's going to share information that people need to know. But it needs to be relevant to them, not you, right? It's not about you. It's about them. And so high relevance means, what do they want to know something about? What do they want to engage with or be able to do off the back of the lead magnet that you're creating, and then create something around that. Now, again, it doesn't need to be big. It can be small, and the more specific you are to the specific symptom, the smaller it can be, but be very high value, which is point number 2. And so point number 2 is, how do you make it high value? And so it doesn't have to be big, as I said before. It can be small, but it has to be valuable to the prospect who's going to engage with your lead magnet. It's going to be valuable enough, and it doesn't have to be incredibly valuable. Like, we're not talking about giving away tens of thousands of dollars of your consulting, but making it really valuable enough that they're willing to give you contact details and start a conversation with you. Some people may think, well, all I need to do is put just a cheat sheet together, or put a checklist together, and that's going to be enough, because it's going to be enough to get the contact details. It can be, if it's valuable to this prospect. If it's not valuable to this prospect, basically you've had the first interaction with them has been a poor interaction, which means they don't see you as value. So knowing that it needs to be valuable is about understanding that the first interaction you want to have with a prospect is a good one. So the third thing is I want it to be clear. And so what does that mean? It means that there's a clear offer that is being made. People need to get basically three things. If you've got too much on your landing page, it will lower your conversion rate. In fact, the less amount that is going on the page enables you to refine it far better. So I suggest that we've got some form of image that is usually the thing we're going to give away, right? So this is the thing. That's the resource that we're going to be giving or offering. We then have some form of title, and the title should be the offer. Here's the thing, why is it valuable and who is it for? So an example might be, this is a calculator to identify your specific sales activities for your accounting practice. That's specific to the people. And then finally, there is a call to action button, CTA, which is, this is the button I need to click to take the next step to download the resource. Now, the great thing with having something simple like this on your landing page is you've now just got these three elements. And so let's say if you were starting at a 16% conversion rate and it started that way, remembering that's our smallest that we're happy with, we can improve it. So there's actually four things on here. There's the title, the call to action, the thing itself, but there's also the background. And so the background, believe it or not, the color in particular of the background has a big effect on the results on your landing page. And so knowing what colors will work with the specific campaign that you're putting out there are part of your testing. Now, I find for some reason with my audience, green tends to be more effective, but for some other campaigns, I need to switch it up because it's the green's not working. So I move it into a blue or something else like that. And so I trial these things. We should be testing. Don't forget, marketing is psychomaths. It's psychology and mathematics intersecting. And so I can look at this and go, all right, well, let's say we're at 16%. I want to improve it. Let's first try changing the title. If I change the title and make it more specific or more valuable, right, without making it an impossible promise, this title needs to be a promise that's easy to keep so that when they receive it, they feel like you've kept the promise. Don't forget, this is the first interaction with you, so you want it to be a good one. But we adjust the title maybe and we try that out. You can A-B split test these, which means you make 2 pages. One page is A and the other page is B. And then you run that 50% of the time on A, 50% of the time on the B, and it'll actually tell you which ones are better. But I don't even do that anymore. I just make small adjustments, one adjustment at a time. And if the number goes up, great. If the number goes down, then I change it back and I change something else, right? Funnily enough, after doing this for so long, the models and formulas that I tend to use really do work pretty much out the gate, and we don't tend to be less than 30% in anything. But again, if it's less than 16%, we've got some work to do, and I'm happy to do that work, right? But it happens over time. You need enough people to look at the page to say, did it work or not? And I have a minimum of 100 people need to have looked at the page for me to decide, do I need to change something now? Okay, so 100 is my magic number. Yours can be whatever it is, but this is a clear offer and it's simple. It's simple and easy to use so that it's easy for you to adjust it as you go, and it's easy for them to understand so they can say yes or no. So before digitizing, what you might want to actually do is an expression of interest offer. And that means that you've got the concept, you've basically got the title for your thing, and you might not have even created it yet. You might just have the concept in your mind. Put that out to your audience. So let's say you already have a list of people on emails. You can go out to that list and say, I'm just finishing this concept, or I'm just finishing this specific thing, and you can put the title in. Would you like a copy when I launch? And you'll see how many people respond to you. That's an expression of interest offer. Now, you can do the same thing on social media. You can do the same thing on any sort of network that you have, but you need to have someone to say that to. Otherwise, you're going to have to put something out into the wild and just guess. Now, I like the expression of interest offer because it enables me to test things before I put them into an automated process or before I spend the time to actually make the graphics and digitize it. But doing that expression of interest offer can actually sometimes be really effective in just the process. You don't have to do the work, right? So you put an offer out there and no one wants it, you don't have to create it. And that's why I like putting these things out first. Put something out there. Can I at least get 5 people who are interested in it? If I do, then I will usually turn it into a lead magnet and make it look a little pretty. And then I will make that offer in a bigger, broader way and put it out on everything from the podcasts that I create through to my social media, landing pages, and website. Okay, and if you haven't gone to russellpearsonprograms.com, you can actually get one of the ones that I just showed you before, and you can download that now absolutely free. So what are the steps from here? Well, number 1, you want to have a great idea. Have that idea, put that idea out as an expression of interest to your network and see if they're interested in it. Make sure you're sending it to the network of the actual target market for the offer, not just some random network of friends and family. You want to make sure that the relevant side of it is highly relevant. So we create the idea, we put out an expression of interest. Once enough people say, yes, I'm interested in that thing, we make the resource and then we create a landing page. Now you can use things like lead pages. I also use Go High Level, and there are a number, if you put in just software like lead pages, you will find a range of other landing page pieces of software, and you probably already have something that can do it within your business right now. And so you don't have to create it, you don't have to get a new piece of software to do this. The majority of them are pretty much the same. Now, to that point, let me just quickly show you something on lead pages that will be available on almost every piece of online software. Now, if I go to create a new landing page, there are templates. And almost every single one of these pieces of software has these templates. Now, what I like about this is I can actually sort by either newest, which means that they've just created a new template and made it available live, or I can actually sort it by conversion rate. So I can actually say, show me the ones that convert the best. Yeah, so conversion rate. So right now, these ones are converting the best. And funnily enough, this one here has been at the top for a lot of years. And you can see that all it is a title with a button. And so it doesn't have to be a complex landing page. And so you can just get one of these templates and put your content into it. But I suggest, if possible, see this model here with the blue, you can see that it's got an image of the actual front of this little book. Can you design a website? And then you can click to actually download it. So that format tends to be one that I would recommend. But every one of the pieces of software that I've ever played with, and I've played with like probably 30 different landing page softwares, will have some form of templates that you can use. And what I like about these two is that they are they're categorized by the style of the industry or what you're offering, and you can select from a cataloged lists of different options. And so you've come up with your concept, you've actually tested it out there by doing an expression of interest. You've now got your template, so you can actually build it into the template. Probably just create a little graphic if it's a book or some sort of publication that you're creating. You can create a little cover. And then you put the image on there, you put the title on there, you put the text, and then a call to action. Now, all you need to do is connect it with your email program, whatever program you're using, whether it's MailChimp or something else, and you can run this thing on autopilot. But do understand, you don't have to run it on autopilot to start. So if you find some of this technology or the thought of some of this technology complex, don't get too far into the automation side of things. Just start by starting simple. Can I create a concept that talks to someone's symptoms, that is relevant, that is valuable, and is a clear offer? Can I make that expression of interest out to people who are within my network? And number one, you'll at least get some people who are raising their hand to probably start a conversation with you. And so sometimes these lead magnets, and especially the expression of interest format, will enable you to restart conversations with people who are already on your list. But if you want to get new people on your list, you can then take that landing page, you can put it on advertising, or you can put it on your website or through your events or whatever you might be doing from a promotional point of view. And it'll allow people to take a very easy first step into your world that allows you to start that conversation. Now, if you're interested in more information on this or are looking for someone like us to help you out in putting this stuff together, there are all sorts of workshops and courses that we have inside the Consulting Guild and the Forge Business Program. If you're interested in getting involved in those, or at least finding out more about them, raise your hand, contact us, and we can show you the first and then next steps. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe for more episodes just like this. We're going to be talking a lot about artificial intelligence, a lot about digital marketing, and about consulting business growth over the coming weeks and months. Until next time, my name's Russell Pearson. Stay passionate, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye for now.